I have wrapped and facelifted my Transporter T5. It's not perfect, but I'm really happy with it. So in this video, I will show a time lapse of it from the start. I will go over what it's cost me. Not cheap, but I think I've done it a lot cheaper than some people have done it. I will embarrass myself and show you every imperfection. There are a few. Even though I'm not experienced, I've only done a few wraps. I will go through some of the techniques that have really helped me, specifically on transporters, sort of some of the problem areas. So I've only wrapped 4 vehicles before. First one was 8 years ago. It was an old Mitsubishi 4x4. I'd come across some wrapping videos on YouTube. I thought, that looks easy. Gave it a go. It wasn't easy. I didn't enjoy doing it, and it didn't look great. Saying that, I had that for 7 years, and it didn't look any worse after 7 years than when I put it on. So that put me off wrapping for a good 4 years. When I bought my T5, I decided to have another go at wrapping. It was a much better wrap. It cost a lot more, but it just went on so easy, and it came out really well. Third one I did was my dad's T5. I facelifted that as well. That was wrapped 2-tone. The top is also wrapped. And the latest one I did was last year, a friend of mine's T5, and that is just the bottom half wrap. I'll do the time lapse now. It's only a few minutes long. Made lots of mistakes with videoing. I've got most of it, and you can see what I've done. So I've wrapped this door mirror. I've done a terrible job on it. I tried doing it in one piece. And you can see the wrinkles I've got there. It's really, really hard to do. And it's not good enough. I'm going to have to take that off. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to try doing it in two pieces. So I'll just put one piece on the inside there. Then it's just one piece to worry about, really. One curve to worry about. So hopefully it's going to come out as a better job. So that has come out much better. There's not a single stretch mark, a single crease. The edges are all perfect. And the seam is not that visible, really. When you're sitting in the driver's seat, you can see it, but I think only if you know it's there and know where to look. I'm much happier doing it that way. So on the door handles, and this goes for all panels, is you don't want too much stretch on the edges. Lock in this first edge, so there's no stretch on that at all. And then I'm going to stretch, because it needs stretch to get the curve. I'll stretch across the main body of the handle. Then once it gets to the other end, heat it up so the vinyl relaxes. Once you've relaxed it, there's no stretch. And then just lock it in on that end. On both ends of these handles, there is barely any stretch, and it's much less likely to fail. Doing the facelift itself is really, really easy. It's literally just unbolt the old one and bolt the new stuff on. So there's messing around with doing the wiring on the headlights. It's quite easy as well. So the costs, I got the main part of the front end I got for $750. So that was the bonnet, headlights, the grills, the bumper, and the wings. I had to buy this part here, and behind this grill is like a support panel. They're normally 180 quid, I think, list prices. I got one, it was damaged, and I got that for, I think it was 60 quid, 59 quid, something like that. So that takes it just over 800. Badges, I didn't particularly want these, but I am glad I've got these gloss black ones. I think they were 23 quid. The indicators were about 15 quid. The mirrors, this side was a genuine one. I got that secondhand, that was 40 quid. The other side one is a aftermarket one, that was 65 quid. And that's terrible, actually. When you're driving it, it rattles. These were 30 quid. These are different on these plastic covers here. And they were about 30 quid for the two. There's some bumper supports behind there. They were 23 quid for the pair. I didn't change this. Some people changed this front panel. I didn't change that. And I did have to grind off. There's a couple of extension bits under there. I had to grind them off. But then these lights just went straight in. I have bolted on a bracket underneath there because there's nothing for that to bolt onto. But you can see they're solid now. So the wiring on the headlights, you can get the adapters that just plug in, but I've repinned it. So you just take all the pins out and put them in a different order, and that's all that the adapter does. There's nothing wrong with adapters, but I think I needed to do the backlights as well. So, it literally took 5 minutes to swap the pins around. I don't know what this tool's called. I've had it for years, like a pin removal tool. I have added the feed in for the daytime running lights. I've wired in a diode and a switchback relay, so when you turn the side lights on, that light dims. So that light does dim properly. So yeah, wiring the lights in and doing all of that is sort of half an hour at the most, including the getting the DRLs on. So yeah, so give or take, the whole front end facelift was about £1,000. So the cost of the wrap was, I've used 18 meters, which is a bit tight really. Ideally, this is a short wheelbase. Ideally, you want 19 or 20, especially if you're doing the door jams. So yeah, so it has cost altogether, I think it was about 480, which is probably the most expensive sticker you'll ever buy. So I've used the KPMF, which I've used before. I used on the last two. First wrap I did was it was a Chinese wrap off eBay. It was, yeah, horrific. So the cheap wraps, it's not that they're not going to last as long. I think it's that they're really hard to work with. If you're going to try wrapping, I wouldn't try with the cheapest wrap there is. So I'll show you all the imperfections now. There are quite a few. Annoyingly, it's really stupid stuff that I could easily have avoided. Cutting the vinyl too short. So some of the parts I'm just going to live with because it's in an area that's just too much work to redo it all. Some of them I'm going to have to try and patch up, and some bits I will redo. So the passenger door, I hadn't put all the bolts in this wing here. The wing was sitting out a bit. I've opened the door and it's caught and took that off. So not really a fault with the wrapping, it's a fault with me not having it bolted in. This, you can see the white under. Actually, I think that's just this rubber seal not fitting right. One of the worst bits, and I can't believe I did this. But yeah, I just thought that window would cover that, and it obviously it hasn't. Again, you can just see the white under there. I just haven't tucked all the vinyl under enough. So yeah, I learnt my lesson for this side, and there's no white showing in there, so this side is all right. If you remember, I had the big scratch down the side there. Cannot see it at all. Door handles have come out really good. There is there. It'll focus. You can see the mark there. That was just as I was squeegeeing, an air bubble. I heated it up too much. I tried to push the air bubble out, and vinyl was too soft, and I've just distorted the vinyl. So the bonnet, I don't know whether you can see. There is. I don't know if you can see around about there. This bottom corner bit, I had to stretch that. So I'd done the whole bonnet. Everything was fine. This was just the last bit of stretching I needed to do. I hadn't heated the vinyl up enough. It was cold, and the vinyl just cracked near the end. It split. So I would have had a split about there. So what I did basically, I took the vinyl back a bit, heated it up, stretched it. So the stretch has caused the colour to distort. So you can see it in daylight. You can notice it if you know it's there. It's not too bad. So it doesn't look too bad, but I expect that to fail at some point. If anywhere's going to fail, it's going to be here because it's been stretched so much. It's probably got a 30% stretch on it there. But the bumper is actually spot on. There's no faults. I've got nothing anywhere on the bumper except if you look right underneath. I've not gone. I've left this section. This section ended up being all wrinkled. But I am going to put some sort of splitter on the front, I think. So that's going to cover the unwrapped bits. Pop top was the biggest disaster. So the vinyl only comes in 1.52 meters, and it's kind of just enough to do the width-wise to do the pop top. I'd left a little bit too much on the other side. I'd not left enough for this side. Had to stretch it a bit. It came out crinkled. I had to put a patch in there. I have got some crinkles there. If you see them, the top of the pop top's fine. You can see I've got the solar panel on there. It's just a flexi stick on, 130 watt. It is wet, so it's hard to tell, but there are a few air bubbles. Nothing that bad. Around these fixings, I did think about removing all of these fixings before I wrapped it, which I do regret not doing. This is the worst one. They could have looked much better if they were removed first. Previous transporters I've done, I've wrapped the seals and not had any issue, but these are a bit rough. I've ended up spraying them, so I don't think wrap is going to do well on them. I've never been keen on side skirts, but I think I'm going to have to put side skirts on. So I have done these door jambs. They were quite hard to do. They're a bit patchy. I was kind of using leftover wrap to do them, but still it's much better than having them white. So thanks for watching. I've still got loads to do on this. I'm going to do some more different things. I might wrap parts of that. I will be wrapping the badge. I might do something with the grills. I've got the wheels to do. The tailgate's going to be done next. That will be the next video. So it's having the T6 tailgate. I've got the whole cab area to redo. That's going to be a big job. And then the camper conversion in the back. The pop top is just sitting in place really. I've not attached the canvas or anything like that, so it's not usable at the minute. So look out for the next video. It will be the tailgate one. Hopefully I'll start getting videos out a bit quicker, but this was a big job, so it has been a few weeks.